Welcome to your September 2024 Lunar Eclipse update. I'm going to bring you all of those details. It is a supermoon, a harvest moon. That means the moon is closer to the earth. It is going to be able to be seen from the North and South Americas, but it is partial. You can check online for that. This will be activating our emotions and our intuition. It's going to help make the veil thin and help us to see through the illusions or get caught in them. It kind of depends on how you handle this. But it's a pressurized period of time as far as our emotions go. We can feel anxious or activated, but eclipses are game changers for us. They are triggers for our growth. I will give you all the things to watch out for, all the benefits of this eclipse, and how to navigate this energy so that you don't get caught in it and ensnared in it, that you actually get the growth from it. Hi, I'm Prema, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe and you won't miss any of my updates and my other videos that I put out as well. And if you don't know what your Vedic astrology chart is, and then you can get the free chart calculator, which is in the description below, as well as the free Sacred Wealth Code quiz. The lunar eclipse is on September 17th or 18th, depending on where you are. On Pacific time, it's late on the 17th. And let's remember that eclipses are activators. They're game changers. They are triggers of growth, and they help to purify our energy. They ask us to make changes that usually come about unexpectedly. That's why we want to keep our schedules simple and light around eclipse time. They bring on transformation if we're willing to surrender, willing to open to new opportunities. But the key here is that we have to remain detached on either side of that. The eclipses are storms, so to speak. They're shadow energy. They're triggers, again, for our growth, because they bring about things unexpectedly that either bring us more into the material world, and that's the material wealth, and that has more to do with Rahu, and that's what this lunar eclipse will have to do with, is the north node of the moon, which is Rahu. Or they ask us to be detached and let go so we can walk more of our divine path. That will be the solar eclipse on October 2nd, and that has to do with Ketu, the mystic. These are the archetypes from my Sacred Wealth Code system. They bring extremes to the balance of life. And that is why we tend to grow when we are challenged in some way or something unexpected comes. Otherwise, we can get complacent with things. They bring what's dark into the light, and they help us to see that there are more choices, but with things coming up unexpectedly, sometimes it's not easy to make a clear choice. I'm going to give you some parameters around making choices during the eclipses. And they play out over a 6-month period of time until we have the next eclipse pattern. We have 2 eclipses typically in an eclipse pattern. We always will have a solar and a lunar eclipse, but sometimes we end up having 3 eclipses. It's just 2 this year. That's good enough. That's enough change for all of us. So the lunar eclipse that's happening on the 17th, 18th is in Pisces. It's when the earth is positioned precisely between the sun and the moon. Then the earth's shadow falls upon the surface of the moon, and that creates the lunar eclipse. Now, this is a partial lunar eclipse. There's a pretty big spread here between where the north node of the moon, Rahu, is, and where the actual full moon will be, and that's the queen. And so it's just a partial. It's not going to have its full impact, but it will have an impact. These types of eclipses with Rahu are more about our material wealth. They are about opportunities in life, in the world, and they draw us into the world. But where we're attached, it'll bring drama and complications. So we have to really watch out for that. These eclipses that started in the spring of 2024 and will go to through the spring of 2025 are in the axis of Virgo and Pisces in Vedic astrology. Yes, I'm talking the side zodiac. And so it's good to know where Virgo and where Pisces are in your chart. And that's why the free chart calculator, if you don't have your chart already, is very useful. So if your sun or your moon or your ascendant is in Virgo or Pisces, these eclipses will be more intense for you. Or if you're running the cycle that I like to call it the soul cycle of Rahu, the north node of the moon, Ketu, the sun or the moon, or the subcycle, the Bhukti, then you will have more, this will have more of an effect on you. When you are not running any of that and it's not hitting any of your personal planets, it's a little bit more of a background issue, but it is happening for all of us. The last time we had this eclipse pattern in this placement of Virgo and Pisces was back in 2005, 2006. Reflect what was going on for you. History does not repeat itself, but it often rhymes, as Mark Twain says. So just knowing the flavor of what was going on, what was shaking up in your world during that time, what were the changes you were going through, and notice how that's connected to what you're experiencing now and how you've matured through that. So this is happening in Pisces. Pisces is a very transformational sign. It is associated with the great benefic Jupiter. And that is, where's my Jupiter? That is the great teacher. It's the great sage. And Jupiter is currently placed in Taurus. It's in a good position. And this is the essence of Pisces is really spirituality and dissolving back into oneness. It's the 12th house of the natural zodiac, even though it may be a different house for you. It's the world that we're letting go of in order to, again, come back home to our spiritual selves. So Pisces itself is about releasing things, dissolving. It's coming closer to our eternal essence. It's the 12th house, it's moksha, it's spiritual and transcendence. And it's with Rahu. And what's interesting about that is Rahu is about the material world. So there's a little bit of a push-pull just in that dynamic here. Pisces also on the shadow side can make us tune out, maybe too much fantasy, buy into illusions, check out in general, whether that's through watching TV or, using substances to check out. So you want to watch that because that would be heightened during the lunar eclipse. But on the spiritual side, it's really about coming back home to who we truly are. And this is an activation for your intuition. In fact, in the full moon's healing circle, we will be working with clearing any of these illusions that are out of the way and to really tap into this heightened intuition that's available while the veil is very thin during this time. The link is down below in the description for the healing circle, which I hold a healing circle on every full moon. This is collectively a catalyst for spiritual growth. I mean, as us all, as a collective. But anytime we have a catalyst, some people are going to choose the growth and some people are not going to choose the growth, and that they're going to choose to check out or they're going to choose to get caught in drama. So you get to make the choice. So I have the intention. Intention paves the way for us. So have the intention for growing where your soul is calling you to grow on this eclipse. It wants to align you more with your spiritual path, with your self-realization. It's a great time for inner work, for meditation, for like the work we do in the healing circle, shifting our energy, aligning aspects of self, releasing aspects of self, breath work, sound healing. So this is a place where unresolved emotions come to the surface. And if you need to make decisions during this time, it is best to, if you can delay any big decision before, not on the, let's say the 17th, 18th, 19th, those are the days to avoid with a lunar eclipse because the changes that a lunar eclipse bring happen in the moment. So you want to keep your schedule light and stay present. So whatever arrives, you can focus on it and deal with it then. But if you have a choice that you're making or a decision that you need to make, but you don't have to do it in that timely way on those days, then I would defer it till before or till after. And if you have to make an important decision, like you may because something unexpected comes up, then again, that's why we want to keep our schedule loose enough so that we're present enough. So just get as present as you can or get some trusted counsel during that time. Be careful about being around delusional people during this time. And that's included in media that you actually take in as well. Because people can be really delusional during a lunar eclipse. In fact, the word lunatic comes from the lunar eclipse, the word lunar eclipse. So we want to be careful about being deluded about things, because things aren't always as they seem to be. It's a foggy, smoky period of time. So you've got to pull back and really come home and check in with your heart. Your heart always knows the way. We also are going to have Venus will be transiting at this time into Libra from Virgo in Vedic astrology, just hours after the eclipse. So it's not right with the eclipse by degree, it's at the very tail end. But Venus has been making relationships a little bit challenging over the past couple, 3 weeks here. And Venus is our great connector in the Sacred Wealth Code system. So if you've been feeling a little challenged in your relationships, I talk about this in the September update with all the other transits, so you can watch the September update. But know that this aspect with Venus is going to shift once we get the day, on the 18th. It'll shift into Libra, where we'll also very much be connecting with the artist energy, and relations will be just so much easier. So right after this eclipse comes in some really connected, wonderful energy. The eclipse is happening not only in Pisces, but in the nakshatra of Purva Bhadrapada. Now, it's happening at about 1 degree, and so it's just barely into the sign of Pisces. And again, there's a big spread between the degrees of, I believe, the nodes of the moon. The true node is around 12 degrees, and so there's several degrees between, and that's why it is a partial lunar eclipse. But Purva Bhadrapada is, again, the fixed star, the nakshatra that it's happening in. And that's the beautiful thing about Vedic astrology, is we're able to look deeply into the part of the heavens, the part of the sky that this is happening, not just in Pisces, but in a particular part of Pisces that brings another energy. So this has to do with, it's associated with fire and with purging. So it's really good symbolism for releasing and letting go, or taking your intentions or your beliefs that are not working for you and burning them. It is also signifies that obstacles will be cleared out of the way. And obstacles being cleared out of the way can be done with grace and ease, and it can be done through something that feels really unexpected and boom, just cut something off. You just have to not be attached to whatever wants to fall away, and then it doesn't feel like you're losing, because the soul looks at anything that needs to fall away as transcendence, but the ego looks at it as loss. So you really want to keep a good perspective over that. There's some symbol of the two-faced man, which is duality on one side, the 3D world, and transformation on the other side. We are called to live in both. It is represented by Ajakapada, which is one-footed, and it brings in this energy of like grounded balance during upheavals. Think about doing a one-footed yoga pose, like tree pose. And when you're doing that pose, or any one-footed pose, it's constant unified movement in order to balance. We've got to make those shifts, but we have to be ever so present to do that. So it brings in an energy of being able to like be the eye of the storm here, but you need to make a conscious choice to actually be grounded. I'll give you some suggestions for that in a moment. This can help to heal unresolved conflicts, release our emotions and fears. We'll be working with that in the healing circle, as well as healing and releasing our karmic baggage, and really awakening to a new level of our spirituality, who we truly are. This is a very potent time for your inner transformation and healing the past and the traumas, as we've talked about, that we will be doing in the full moon healing circle. Aspects of self will come up for you that are ready to be integrated, that have been shut out of your energy system because of old beliefs and limiting beliefs in ways that you might have been hurt earlier in life or in earlier lives. And this also will be a time where we can integrate parts of ourselves, those gifted parts of ourselves, and embody those more, as well as release the parts that are no longer serving us. Just like in the fall, the autumn, the leaves are starting to fall off the trees to then compost and make more nutrients for something new to grow. So it's a very potent time. And, during this time, it's really good for you to be aware of your personal needs, okay? And to stay very present. Some of the remedies here are to manage your emotions so they don't manage you. And by that, I mean stay out of reactivity. How do you do that? You set your intention for how you do want to feel. You stay very clear. You drop into your heart and you actually set your intention. So what is your intention for shift, for change, for release, and what you want to call in for this eclipse time? Tune into what that is. I'd love to hear what that is for you. Stay out of large crowds, and potentially volatile people tend to be in large crowds, or, in your life, if there's anyone potentially volatile, this is not a time to have a big conversation. And not everyone will be in their right mind during this time. So mind your environment and your emotional environment. We talked about no big decisions on the day, the 17th, 18th, 19th, and make sure that if you can, keep your schedule light. And if you can't, because you're already booked out, then you just stay extra grounded and extra present. If you're traveling during the time, just be aware that things can be a little wonky, and you definitely want to go in the flow. Don't get fussed if plans change. It will be a challenge to really know what you want right during that particular time. So that's why I say don't try to make big decisions or pressure yourself to figure something out on those 3 days. It's like being in the fog. You cannot see all of your choices. Let's let the fog clear, and then we'll be able to see where the path has shifted. So that's why it can tend to be a little bit hard to plan during an eclipse. If you have business, if you're launching something, I like to avoid those eclipse dates and the days right around like I talked about, because people are just kind of wrapped up with a lot of things, and you want whatever it is that you're bringing into the world to be seen. Again, no big conversations during that time, so just be aware. And if you're scheduled, give yourself as much time as you can to have a little bit of space between things. Ground. So get your feet on the ground, get in water, take a bath, take a shower, intentionally breathe deeply, put your feet on the ground. We want to stay very grounded so that we're not distracted. If you're distracted during this time, it's very easy to get caught up in something that you are not intentionally wanting to get caught up in, whether it's a conversation, whether it's, something while you're driving on the road. Just stay focused, extra focused. Okay, so don't be multitasking. This is a place when ultimately we want to find that place within ourselves where center is, and that is your heart and your core. So doing yoga, being, exercising, but nothing that is extreme. It's not time to jump out of an airplane or climb the biggest mountain in the world, okay? You want to drink lots of water. Water is very grounding, but it's also very, very purifying. And what's really good to do during this time is to do spiritual practice and to do inner work. So come to the healing circle, make time for meditation, spend extra time in meditation, both in setting your intentions and also in the inner work of releasing. Very important. Time with, people who are close to you that are trusted, your family, that's great. Do breath work. Breath work is incredibly powerful, whether it's simple breathing deeply in and out, any form of pranayama, box breathing. There's lots of work out there around breath work, but I do incorporate that in the healing circle as well. Journaling, chanting, and chanting is kind of working with your breath and your heart all at the same time. So mantra is just wonderful, wonderful during this time. And Jupiter's mantra, Ganesha, which is a wonderful, simple mantra you can do, but you can pick any mantra. Any kind of release work is great during this time. So one other aspect that I didn't mention yet is Mars is aspecting the next eclipse that we have in Mars. So take care of yourself during this time. Leave me a comment. Let me know what's coming up for you during this eclipse. Let me know, just how you're feeling, what you're dealing with. Also, what is your intention for releasing? What is your intention for calling in? I'd love to hear. Leave me a comment. If you're wanting the Oracle cards, the book, Your Sacred Wealth Code, Unlock Your Soul Blueprint for Purpose and Prosperity, or the journal, they're all available on my website, solutionary.com, on Amazon. Links are down below in the description. If you want to book a reading with me and know how all this is playing out for you, absolutely, link is down below. And I am launching a very special program that will only be $22. It's going to be an 11-day Sacred Wealth journey where we're really going to walk through the principles of this work, Your Sacred Wealth Code. It's going to be interactive and fun and engaging, and you will walk away really knowing more of your gifts and how you're meant to show up and shine in the world, and working through your shadow as you embrace more wealth. So the link is also down below for that. So I look forward to seeing you there, and I have other wonderful things coming for you soon. So much love to you, and feel free to subscribe again and share this around. I really appreciate it.